Well, hello everyone. Here's the Three Stooges Growing Up coloring activity right here is talking about the Three Stooges, and talking about it's like the story from whenever I was growing up that I would watch the Three Stooges is you say Larry, Moe, and Curly it is, along with say the Curly Joe and of course Champ it is, but other than that you have right here for the Three Stooges characters right here, and this reminds me of this several years ago, like on a Saturday night. It was a lot of times about every Saturday night it was that about 10 or 11 o'clock that I can remember that they would come on a local stations a lot of times, and with the from the local stations though that they would have a few episodes. It is of course that was in black and white that they would have a few episodes that you could watch you say on the local stations that they were in black and white, which I know nowadays that I guess they showed episodes every once in a while, like on AMC or some channel like that. It is, but basically you have right here is the Three Stooges. Right here is you have Larry right here, and with Larry I can go ahead and give him along with Moe, go ahead and give him like say the brown type of color. Of course you say on his head it's like you got that bald spot of course for his head, and if anybody has seen like the Three Stooges movie, it was they had to see the movie, and then of course they had a few other episodes. It was you say with Moe, and of course with Curly, and anybody probably think about it's like with Curly though that I can remember that my nickname at one time was going to be it's like Curly Matt. It was I remember that. As I told people, I talk about that I want to be known as Curly Matt. That other than that you have right here is the Three Stooges, and one of the reasons why I decided to do this coloring activity was basically talking about is like nearly several years ago. I would say it's been about 15 years or so, but back a while back, I would say back in 1996, something like that I can remember that like a lot of times on the weekends especially that I can remember that staying up late sometimes even like on a Sunday night. I think a couple of times that a lot of the Three Stooges episodes that would come on like late night hours. It was like on a Saturday night, but sometimes not until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. And I can remember a couple of times that I remember I had my VCR and I could record episodes for whenever I wanted to watch it. It was of other episodes, and I don't know if I can tell anybody here about that how many episodes. There may have been at least maybe 140 or so episodes of from the Three Stooges. It was of you say one of them I guess would say the plumbing we would go in. Of course that National Bank Treasure or something like that, and then a few other episodes it was. But you have right here is like for Larry, and talk about it's like I say the slapping, of course with pulling out the hair, and of course poking poking in the eye, and like talk about with the hammers and stuff like that. It's like doing the plumbing, and of course with other episodes where they were working at the restaurants. It was and say doing carpenters. It's like working as like carpenters, and of course when you're working on automobiles. It was so they've had quite a few episodes to where that you see them do like about quite a few jobs that you think like plumbing or flying airplanes, stuff like that, piloting, and so it's like they had I seen quite a few of the episodes from whenever Moe, Larry, and Curly, and of course a few episodes of course was Champ that would be in there, and then along with Curly Joe it is, and I can remember that it's like with my parents though that they always wondered about well, why do you stay up past such and such time to be able to watch the Three Stooges shows. And I remember I used to talk to a friend that I knew at school, and I can remember that there was one episode for whenever that they were in a submarine. If I can describe, I don't really recall that the episode, but when they were in a submarine, and then from there they apparently that there was a bomb that was dropped. You say from a missile or something like that was dropped from an airplane, and while that the front door of the submarine was open, and then Curly wound up catching it. And I can remember that the part where it's like Yeah, and how did I catch a criminal? Well, I pretty much took the hammer and I went and he hit the bomb, and all of a sudden the bomb wound up going off or something like that. It was some type of missile or something that he hit, and it wound up exploding, and then it showed like up the heaven we go. But other than that you have right here is talk about, say, with the Three Stooges episodes it is, and in most of the episodes that I remember watching, of course, quite a few of them were in black and white. So anybody maybe think about that. I guess you don't have to give it all like a certain type of color. It is like we say the Three Stooges characters. It's like, yeah, I'll go ahead and now right here is a blue because the part would say with black, but you say you got the black and white. Part say the Three Stooges, but I could tell anybody here that, but like with the Three Stooges, that whenever I was in school, I would tell my teacher a lot of times about, watching the Three Stooges, and of course, that like talk about, it's like the type of voices he makes us like talk about, like nah nah nah, like a whoa 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 whoa, but like who's totally, but and then along with Mo, it's like I tell you something, okay? You mind your own, Pete, and on your head, like I'm the boss, and you need to get it clean on those windows, you numbskull. And then on here, and then Larry would be like, answer, it's like hello, how you doing, Miss Fun? And like, but other than that, like talk about dialing the numbers, just to make the phone calls, whichever it is. But on the other hand, too, that I can remember, like on a Saturday night, it was that I would want to watch the Three Stooges. It was, and a couple of times, anybody here can maybe remember a little bit. You kind of go back, say time and talking about is that watch, the TV history it is of knowing about that a couple of times that the Three Stooges would appear. Like on the Family Channel, a couple of times that they would show up, say on the Family Channel, and a lot of times we're talking about between 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. And I can remember that I would record episodes that would come on, such as whatever episodes, if it was at at the Phillips station or whichever it was, and catching a robber, whichever episode that would come on, and I could probably tell anybody here that there's been a couple of episodes I've seen probably more than once it was, and knowing about that, tell anybody that about my favorite TV shows back then. It's like talking about just actually drawing the actual character right here, and then from there, and then talking about them. It's like that, who are they and what do they present? It's like anybody probably think about, if this was a show and tell type project, it was, and that more likely people may be raising their hands and being like, hey, but doesn't Curly have maybe a few curls, of course, on his head or anything like that? Maybe people may be asking me questions. Really, I really don't even know exactly what they will be asking me. But on the other hand, that I could probably think about that. Maybe draw like right here is like if Mo were to pull say pieces of his hair out, it's like shows like a little bit of his hair, and on the other hand that slapping like slap down. But I remember that's what my parents were like, the Brady Bunch especially, any TV shows that like on a Saturday night that would come on late at night, that they say that you don't need to be staying up late watching them, like if anything record them on tape it is. But at the time I wonder about if any of your favorite TV shows such as the Three Stooges, or if it's I Love Lucy. I know I Love Lucy was another TV show that came on at a real late night hour. I'm talking about between 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. It was that a lot of times, like the TV show I Love Lucy would come on, and a few other TV shows. It was that like Leave It to Beaver, or if it's like Sanford and Son, the types of TV shows like that, and knowing about with those TV shows that why is it that they came on at that late night of the hour, and more likely that I don't know if it's all about the fact about for it being a Saturday night. Of course that's back then. Like now that they have it to where you can actually get like on internet sites such as like like YouTube, or if it's any other type of channel like Hulu or something like that, to watch TV episodes it is. But on the other hand too, right here, I've talked about, say, with the Three Stooges though, that I can remember that one of them was about whenever they were plumbers, and a couple times I would be recording them at the same time on tape. But I can remember once or twice that I would even go to sleep with the TV on a couple times, and I can remember waking up, and I can remember watching one episode to where that they were working on pipes. It was that they were trying to work on pipes. I think the plumbing we would go, or something like that was the name of it. But they'll be working on pipes. It was, and with the pipes, it's like they talk about if it was a pipe cleaner or anything like that, that they were working on pipes, and then apparently Mo was working on a pipe, and then I think Larry, he asked Larry to give him the torch, and then he wound up turning the torch on full blast. It was, and it's like what are you trying? But other than that, they have right here. Go ahead and add like right here is like everybody probably think about add like if there was water, of course, coming out of the piping. It was, and a lot of times everybody probably think about, yep. I can remember there was one episode to where that there was a chef inside the kitchen at one episode, and apparently that the plumbers had taken the appliances, taken the piping apart and then connected it, of course, right here to the light. If anybody remembers, of course, one episode to where that there was water, of course, coming out of the light. It was, you guys say the light switch, and then that right here, and then you got right here is the stove top. And remember that chef that was in the kitchen, of course, that was in the kitchen cooking, and all of a sudden it's like the time just start spinning by, and like this house is sure going crazy. But like he would even put on a fireman uniform and be like trying, like, you turn the stove and there's water coming out of the stove, and all kinds of, like, talking about, it's like the Three Stooges, that they would be connecting connecting the water supply to the power supply. It is, and water be coming out of the stove, and then they had a part where that, like, it's like water. That there was water that came out of the TV. I always wondered about, maybe how they did that. Like that there was a part where they turned on the TV. This is a special moment, brought to you by so far Niagara Falls, and all of a sudden it's like the waterfall was on TV, and all of a sudden, if anybody here has remembered that episode to where it would show Niagara Falls on TV, and all of a sudden the TV just cracks. I mean, it just goes. But other than that you have right here, I'll go ahead and add, like, maybe a little bit of blue coloring. It's like, say, so far as water. It's like, but the plumbing, it is. It represents, like, for the plumbing. But anyway, but you have other episodes, and I can remember that watching watching the Three Stooges, like, and I can remember that there was one episode, of course, whenever they were, of course, playing golf. It was, and whenever they were in a football game, if I remember, they did one about a football game, and of course, getting involved in the races. It was, and then going out with the lady, getting married. All three of them get married. It is, and then of course dating. And so they've had maybe at least they probably maybe had about maybe 420 episodes altogether, of course, of the Three Stooges. It was, and at knowing about, like, anybody probably think about, if it's like, like on the weekends. It was on the weekends. The weekends that more likely that they that a lot of times between, I could tell anybody here, around 4 a.m. A lot of times 4 a.m. like on a Saturday night, it was that the Three Stooges would not come on TV until about that time, late, early morning time. And I can remember that my parents would record, they would program a VCR, that we would have a VCR there that to use. At least I had a VCR too at the time, where I would have use tapes to record certain episodes. It was of the Three Stooges of when the look up for whenever time we looked in the TV guide it was, and whenever time that they said it was going to be on TV it is, and then we would go in and program the VCR to record it. It was like on a Saturday night that think about. I'm like, yeah, that a lot of times I always wondered about why is it that they come on late at late night hours, and I guess some people may think about that that's just the way the the TV guide works. It is, but on the other hand too that that it's pretty much, I guess, like for whatever episodes that that more likely that whatever how the channels broadcast from what show that's programmed to come on at this time or that time. I don't know. If anybody probably think about that, nowadays with TV it is like with the wireless and stuff like that you can probably say about nowadays you can just enter it in onto the search bar. It is like on an internet site such as like Hulu, or if it's maybe Rabbit TV, something like that, and then you'll find episodes from like the Three Stooges, or if it's the Brady Bunch, or if it's like anything related to like maybe Three's Company, or if any other type of TV comedy show it was. But I could tell anybody here that I can remember mentioning in school, of course, that like Three Stooges is knowing about like Curl. It's like talking about I tell you that one am I supposed to do and then whenever he would it's like do snapping, of course, with his fingers it is, and then on the other hand too that knowing about with like then one part, one episode, of course, of the Three Stooges is whenever that they were out fishing, or whenever they were out fishing too. But anyway, I could probably think of several other episodes too. But so far as talk, I say with the artwork, of course, is like about the Three Stooges though, that with the Three Stooges that and anybody maybe think of, I'm like to just kind of show them, and I can remember my both my parents. It is said that they said that they even went to go see the Three Stooges, over there at Family Arena, the Saint, I think St. Charles or St. Peter's Family Arena. It was that they were there live at the arena, and I can remember that they were saying, I guess that would have probably been about the year would have been about 1968, something like that. From whenever they seen them live, and of course they said that they were kind of like what you call black suits. It was kind of like black, dark gray, black suits, and they would come out and then start, they would wave to the audiences and stuff, and then they would even have it to where that they would show them you say popping each other. It's like popping or slapping each other. It's like with the hammer, and anybody probably think about it. I can remember that, of course, my mom and dad both told me that it was like that with any episodes, of course, that you see right here, it's like if they were using like what's called like a hammer, it is, and they say that like hey, it's a fake hammer, it's made out of rubber, it is, and then talking about like bling, but other than that, like besides hit each other, it's like talk about between the saws and then of course the hammers, and then with dynamite, and they I could probably think about that so some episodes that I thought were pretty dangerous too. Like we're talking about besides like the Tom and Jerry cartoon TV shows of like we say if like the Three Stooges, though, that with the Three Stooges that anybody maybe think about at least the Tom and Jerry cartoons and other cartoons such as maybe the Mighty Ducks or the the Ninja Turtles, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or anything like that. About knowing about that growing up with those growing up and remember watching those TV shows, of course, on TV, and I kept thinking about that even though if the Three Stooges TV shows, of course, even though if they are about 50 already about maybe 54 or 55 or so years old, maybe 61 years old it is, and I think about it's like that they you still laugh at them, of course, at times, and even though they're black and white, and knowing about it, that with a lot of those TV shows it is, and knowing about for growing up and talking about with me though, that I could tell anybody here that just talking about doing the artwork, and of course talking about the Three Stooges. Like, I guess you could say that that's something that more likely I kind of always wanted to do too, because back whenever those couple years ago, whenever I was in school, it was that basically that I could tell anybody here that I pretty much wrote it down on paper, about maybe read it off to the class about, it's like, what are your favorite TV shows? And I would tell them something like, besides the Three Stooges, it was like the Mighty Ducks or, something like that. Or it was the guy who used to come on that, Channel 9, that painting guy. And then I can remember Wishbone. I think there was a TV show called Wishbone that I like watching, every once in a while. And then, of course, I don't know if I was in too much in Sesame Street, but or the Smurfs. I don't even know. I can't remember if I ever. It's like the Smurfs. I think I had a Smurfs T-shirt, but other than that, most of the time with growing up, of course, watching TV, it was a lot of times that it's like the Three Stooges. It was just talk about. It's like for every weekend, especially like on a Saturday night. It is that. And not really about for October the 25th, but a lot of times that I remember I'm like that about the Three Stooges though. It's like with the Three Stooges, it's like one episode to where it's like they're talking about, it's like that and if I can actually do it, it's like to see it like right here, but you have right here is like for Curly, Moe, and Larry right here, and then it's like if they were to say so, and right here is a phone, if they would be taking a phone call, and I can remember there was one episode to where that it's like like hello, hello, hello. But all right, there you go. Right there is the phone, and anybody probably think about Larry Fine, Larry at in front of the phone it was, and talk about dialing 14. I think 14 numbers, I think was like and like talk about how many numbers, but alright, like talking about here is talking about it's like quite a few episodes, of course, that we more likely we still remember. But other than that, it's like thanks for watching so far as for the Three Stooges growing up coloring activity.